guys, it's Kelly from Cards by Christine and the Sunshine Stampin' Co. Okay, here we go, look at that. Tell you more about that in a little bit. But we are here today to do a September kit class. So September has 2 kits. This is the first one that I am bringing to you. Sorry, I just had to make sure that the live was streaming, which it is, so we are good to go. I'm gonna move this out of the way so that it doesn't get damaged. Okay, so September 2025, Stampin' Up! Released 2 new kits. One of them is the Road to Christmas card kit, which is what we are going to be working on today. And then next week you can catch me for the Handmade and Heartfelt, some variation of those words, card kit. So this kit is an all-inclusive kit, so there's no stamping, there's no ink, there's no anything like that. So super simple, super cool cards. Very excited about this kit. Currently, it is not available. I will check with Chris if this is something that they anticipate restocking. If not, this is just for your viewing pleasure, or if you had the opportunity to purchase it ahead of time. Well, not ahead of time, before it ran out of stock. Yeah, this was not anything that was like an early release or anything like that. So, good morning to Randy and Mary. Thank you so much for joining. We are making 8 cards today in 2 different designs, and actually what I have been doing with the kit classes is instead of making all 8 of them, so 4 and 4, I'm going to make 1 of each of the designs. Keep the videos a little shorter and allow us opportunities to, I'm actually going to bring you some more of these cards in different formats. So that's what the whole Sunshine Stampin' Co. is about. I hope it restocks. I do too. It is really cool. I actually have an idea for this kit if it does restock. So I'm hopeful that they are able to restock it. But anyways, yes, so I launched my own business this month. And so for those of you that don't know, Christine is my cousin. I have been working on her team since, well, so like I helped her build her brand probably back in 2015. I went to school for graphic design, so I created her logo and all that fun stuff, and I have ridden on her coattails through a lot of this fun, and I have been so blessed to be on board with her. And it's evolved over the years. Her business has evolved over the years. Absolutely. She has grown to do incredible things. For those of you, obviously I think most of you know, she reached her million just over a month ago, which was so exciting and inspiring. And I've kind of been working up to this point myself over the last year. And finally, I'm at the point where I did build my own YouTube channel and Facebook page, and joined on as a demonstrator as well. So lots and lots of fun and exciting things that I have hopefully planned. Trying not to be tentative, trying to jump in with both feet. So go over to the Sunshine Stampin' Co. So that's Stampin' like Stampin' Up, not with the G. I only have 2 videos right now, so it is harder to find when we don't have okay, Chris has over 1,000 videos on her YouTube channel, so lots easier to find her, but would love for you to show me some support in that way, and hopefully I will have some inspiring and creative content that speaks to you, so that my goal is to earn the 2027 incentive trip, which is to Costa Rica. There's a lot of philosophy behind why God has spoken to me that now is the time and this is my opportunity. But I'll kind of divulge more of that over on my own channel, and when the time kind of comes. So any way that you can support me in this journey, and Chris completely 100% supports me as well. I'm not trying to hijack her channel. She knows I'm doing this. And I will continue to create content for the kits and the pumpkins here, and share with the Cards by Christine audience. So you're not losing me. You may hopefully be supporting me in other and different ways, and I will continue to be on Chris's team and a fixture in her life and her business. Like I said, she's my cousin, and has always been a steadfast supporter of me and my ambitions. So excited to be manifesting that in a different way. Okay, I promise that is hopefully all of my TED Talk and personal promotion going on. Thank you to everyone who has already or will be heading over to YouTube to subscribe. I'm very excited, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. So, without further ado, we are doing the Road to Christmas kit. Let's flip her on down. Thank you, Randy. I appreciate it. Okay, so the Road to Christmas kit, like I said, currently, as we speak, is not available. So we will keep our eyes peeled and keep you posted as to how that progresses if it does become available again. And in the meantime, we're just going to celebrate the fact that we did get our hands on it, so that we can bring the content to you at least. Okay, so we have dimensionals and tear and tape. We have printed envelopes. It appears as though all of the printed envelopes are the same. So we've got trees on the front outside and this beautiful, not really watercolor, it's kind of like crayon looking or chalky looking, red plaid. So very, very pretty. These elements correspond with the card elements. Okay, then we have some printed pieces. We've got trees on both. Pull them off to the side. We have card bases. So one of the card base has that same pattern and texture, just in a blue tone. I will let you know exactly what blue tone that is in just a smidge. We've got dogs, packages, and trees. That's fun. Here is our second card base. So this is, again, that same plaid pattern in a different blue this time. All right, sentiments in 4 languages. So we've got sending loads of Christmas cheer and joyful Christmas wishes are the sentiments for this English-speaking lady. All right, and then we have our trucks. So we have 2 different red trucks. We have more of a vintagey truck, and then still a vintage truck, just not quite as vintage. Oh, okay. So this one has a little place that you're going to stick something. I hope the kit restocks. I know it did sell out amazingly quickly. So it is a while supplies last type of product. Thank you, Dolores. So the kits release typically the first Tuesday of the month. So it did release a while back in September. And here we are at September 23rd. So that is the only reason why I'm not certain if it is going to restock or not. I would hope due to the demand, they would have the opportunity to request more, but unfortunately it is not a guarantee. Okay, so sending loads of Christmas cheer. So one thing that I was able to attend the incentive trip to Disney this past year with Christine. And one thing that was brought up there that I thought was brilliant was instead of wasting all of these additional languages, because this is just going to end up in the garbage, some of the demonstrators that attended had mentioned holding on to pieces like these and bringing them to Stampin' Up! Events, especially the incentive trip where, you know, we've got demonstrators from all over the world who are high achievers who are attending the incentive trip, and they can utilize their own languages and kind of leave behind the English or the other languages for other demonstrators. So, cool idea for something like this. I'll just pull that off to the side. And then while I'm on a roll, I'm just going to continue to keep punching things out. So we've got the smaller elements on this page, including some, both, actually all now, 3 of the things that I've punched out are double paged. I keep them together to save just a smidgen of time in punching out, but that is the way to get the appropriate quantity for all of our things. Okay, so tiny little doggies here. And then I presume the packages are going to go in the trucks. Actually, I think one of the trucks has packages and maybe one of the trucks has trees on board. So we will find that out as we go. So September is a crazy chaotic month for me. One of my other gigs is as a teacher. So we are back to school. We are about 3 weeks in. This marks the 3rd week, I think. Maybe the 4th. I can't remember. It's been absolute chaos. And then the last, maybe not last, another of the things is I have 2 children of my own, so it's back to school personally and professionally. So I have a 2nd grader and a kindergartner, and so back to school has been off to a great start, but man, I feel pulled in about 13 million different directions, especially with the young boys. Such a blessing. All of the things in my life are such blessings. I'm not gonna try to deny that in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, I'm feeling September vibes all over the place. Okay, so we've got everything that we need for this kit at this point in time. All right, so the older truck, the more old of the trucks, that's what I'm trying to say, is going to have the packages, and then the other, maybe newer looking truck is going to have the Christmas tree. Oh, and packages. Huh. Okay, well anyways, I think that's what we got going on. So I referenced colors before. On the back of all of the kit instructions, whether they are from the kit collection or from Paper Pumpkin, Stampin' Up!, you know, one of the legacies of Stampin' Up! Is how everything coordinates so well. And the colors are kind of at the foundation of all of that. So the coordinating Stampin' Up! Colors in this kit are Basic Black, Cherry Cobbler, Crumb Cake, Crushed Curry, Early Espresso, Lost Lagoon, Mossy Meadow, Old Olive, Pecan Pie, Pool Party, and Real Red. So those are the colors we're dealing with. So I would say for these card bases, we've probably got Pool Party over here and Lost Lagoon on this card base. So, all right, let's see what we've got. We are going to lay out our pieces per card so that we know what we need. Joyful Christmas Wishes is going to go on the Lost Lagoon pile. And then the Sending Loads of Christmas Cheer is going on the Pool Party pile. We are going to put the I'm going to call old truck and new truck just for simplicity's sake at this point. The old truck on the Lost Lagoon pile and the new truck is going on the pool party pile. Then we have the vertical piece is going on the Lost Lagoon and the horizontal piece is going on the pool party pile. We've got trees for both, so half and half, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then half and half for the dogs and the packages, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's how the supplies shake out. We will be using the tear and tape for card number 1, which is what we've been referring to as the Lost Lagoon card, and then the dimensionals will be used on both. Envelopes, half and half, I will keep them off to the side for now. There is nothing that we need to do with that. Okay, that does it. Let's move card number 2 off to the side and keep card number 1 at the ready, but I'm going to take one of each of the pieces for this particular card. Oh, and of course we need a card base. All right, so first things first, card base is printed. It also is scored, so there's a scored line down the middle. So go ahead and fold your card base. When I use my bone folder, I do like to try to match the corners up. Sometimes it can go through the machine a little crooked, so I like to try to keep the corners where I want them and then bring in my bone folder to give it a nice crisp seal. All right, so we've got that. That was step number 1. We didn't even need the instructions for that one. That is almost always going to be step number 1. All right, then for the tear and tape, the suggestion is to use tear and tape to adhere this down. But I'm going to go ahead and use liquid glue instead. Variety of reasons, but that is my adhesive of choice. So I'm just going to get out my liquid glue, flip the card base or the mat over, and then put a little glue on that, center it, and stick it down. Liquid glue does take just a couple seconds to cure, so I'm going to give it some pressure for a few seconds and call that good. Now, we are going to switch over to the dimensionals. So, like I said, it was a little more noticeable on the other one. Yes. So, these red trucks have been kind of the hot thing for a while, in terms of like decorating and stuff like that. So this was a really good design choice for the design team. And I'm not surprised that it was very well received. I'd be curious, I like math. I actually love math and I like numbers. I would love to know like the logistical side of things, like how many did they forecast, how many did they buy, and how many did we sell, because they knocked it out of the park with this one. Okay, so basically, it's easier to see on the back side, but we've got this laser cut piece where we're gonna be able to stick something into kind of like the bed of the truck. So what we want to do is we want to flip this over. We want to flip the packages over. And we want to flip the Joyful Christmas Wishes over. Now, I'm going to take a second here to flip back. So when we were laying out the pieces, from what I am gathering, we have 8 card bases, 8 envelopes, and the opportunity to make 8 cards. So we have 4 old trucks, 4 new trucks, but we have 8 dogs, 8 trees, and 8 packages. So when I move into the instructions, I'm seeing that we are using the packages, but not the dog and not the tree. So what I'm gathering out of that is, I personally don't have dogs. So the dog, I think, is you can put it on or you can not put it on. And I think then what we're looking at here is we've got a truck that we can fill with whatever we want. So you can include the dog or not include the dog. You can use the packages or not use the packages. And then similarly so, I think you could use the tree or not use the tree. So I think the tree would go like this, and would be, if that is what you want your truck to be carrying, that's what you use. If you want the package, you use the package. That is what I am gathering out of these instructions. Now, I could be wrong, but that is how I am going to use this kit. Okay? So for that intent and purpose, I'm just going to peek ahead. So it appears as though on the next kit, or excuse me, the next card in this kit, we're going to be using the newer truck with the packages and the tree. It's harder to tell in the finished card because there are so many trees behind it, but there is a tree in that truck bed as well. So if you wanted this Joyful Christmas Wishes cards to have a tree in the bed of the truck, or for that matter, the packages and the tree, you could do that as well. Then, of course, you could put the dog at the kind of tire of the truck if that is an element that you want to add as well. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of put that out because those were the thoughts that were running through my head as I was trying to, you saw, I opened up the kit. This is my first look at it. For those of you, I did look at it when I ordered it, but we, like I said, not currently available. The kit was $14, so if it does become available again, we're making 8 cards for $14, and these are what they look like. Oh no! Well, I can't lose that. Okay, so I'm gonna go back now to the place that we were before, where I flipped everything over. I'm going to grab my dimensionals, and I usually just use my own dimensionals. The kit came with regular dimensionals, and I've got some mini dimensionals here, so I'm just gonna end up using more, which is totally fine. So we are going to be putting dimensionals on the back here. So we're just gonna fill up the back. I like to use plenty of dimensionals. Again, I already said that I'm using the small ones instead of the regular size ones. But I'm gonna use plenty. I'm not going to fill in this area because that's where things are gonna get tucked, but I am gonna put more along the back here. I just don't want mine to be flimsy or fall apart. So I'm gonna put one in each of the wheel spots and then just some extras. Go ahead, I'll flip over to the sentiment and we'll put some along the back of the sentiment. Okay, and then on the package, so it appears as though we're putting a half dimensional. Because I have the small dimensionals, I think I'm just gonna put one, but you can cut your dimensionals up into smaller pieces. Even the small one, you know, you could absolutely easily do that. And put it here. Now the reason we're not putting dimensional anywhere else is because we need to stick it in there. So we don't want to have any excess. But So we've got this card. It is dry, ready to be built up on, and I need to flip the truck over. So I'm going to take all of the dimensional backs off of the truck first. Ah! Okay, we're going to flip it over. I'm going to stick this down. Now, it appears as though this goes in this general vicinity. Very lightly hover that over just while I put the rest of the pieces down. I'm not necessarily going to stick it down. So, you know, right in the middle of the path, about an inch from the bottom of the mat, we're going to put the sentiment centered beneath it. Both the sentiment and the truck are hanging over the word mat, just a smidge. So actually it does look like this goes a little higher. Oh, there's kind of some like blue that it settles in. Okay, so this maybe goes a little bit higher as well. Honestly, it doesn't really matter where these elements end up, but just kind of following the picture. Then we're going to take the dimensional off the back of the packages. We're going to lightly get that in that laser section. Before I stick this down, just going to kind of show you how I've got this positioned. So we've got the white that is like the outline beneath the package. We're trying to hide that within the bed so it actually looks like it's sitting in the bed, which brings it level. You know, you kind of got the package behind the window. So I think that is in a good spot. So I'm going to stick that down, and in doing so, I'm going to push the rest of the dimensionals down as well. That is all of the elements to this card. You know, I didn't use the tree, so this is extra. Again, if you wanted to include the dog, you could absolutely do that as well. It could go anywhere in kind of, you know, maybe behind the words, but in front of the truck kind of area. And also if you wanted to include the tree, I think that would be fine as well. You could include the tree and or the packages. So just kind of thoughts on how to customize it to make it your own. Thank you so much, Hallie. It does look super cute. Obviously this card could be made much faster than I just made it. I put a lot of, you know, extra conversation or description in it. And then, you know, if you've got Stampin' Up! Stamps, you can go ahead and stamp a sentiment on the inside as well. I would probably do it in this case in Cherry Cobbler, because this truck is definitely more the Cherry Cobbler color scheme. Would look very nice there. Or of course you could do Memento, make it black as well. So, boom, love it. Moving on to card number 2. So this is the pool party, or the quote-unquote new truck. This is going to be a horizontal card. It looks like it's more at a tree lot. Okay, so sending loads of Christmas cheer. Such a punny little statement there. And I still have the tree and the dog over there, so I'm not going to worry about bringing them in. Move the pieces off to the side and go ahead. First step, again, burnish your card base. All right. Again, tear and tape on the elements here. I'm going to opt to use liquid glue. So, oh my goodness, tear and tape was illustrated on both. I was like, wow, they're really using tear and tape for not showing it, but it was off to the side over here. So yeah, again, tear and tape, your choice. If you don't have your own Stampin' Up! Supplies, it is absolutely fine to use what is in the kit. There is nothing about this kit that you need outside of the purchase of the kit. So I love when Stampin' Up! Does that, because then you can be an absolute beginner. You can, you know, buy something like this and gift it to a friend that you'd like to craft with. and invite someone to join this hobby with you. Quick water break. Okay, so we've got the mat down. Then we are going to bring in the elements and add some adhesives to them. So this time we are going to be using all of the kind of like add-on pieces. Just to show you, on this truck, we've got actually quite a bit more, probably because of the tree, but quite a bit more laser cut out on here. Okay, so for our dimensionals on this one, we've got each of the wheels and then kind of like the bumper. Don't want to put too many additional on because like in this area, the tree and the package are going to be taking up some real estate. So, all right, again, we're going to put a dimensional on the back of the farthest right looking package, and then instead of putting 3 on the back of the banner, I'm just going to do in a square, I'm going to do 4 just to put a little extra support behind this guy. I might actually do 1 in the middle as well. Dimensionals are a very inexpensive crafting supply. Of course, if you don't purchase them on your own and you're using what comes in the kit, you're not even paying for them. They're built into the price of the kit. So I like to not worry about using too many of them because it really does help give your cards and your creations some integrity. Okay, putting 2 dimensionals on the back of the dog, and then we are going to use glue on the back of the tree. So I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to stick the truck down first and then glue when I put the tree in the truck. So bringing the card base back in, I'm going to start by putting down the sentiment just to kind of frame the pieces in the card as to make everything fit where it belongs. So take off all of the pieces on the back of your sentiment. I see my glass mat is losing one of its feet, so I'm going to take a moment to put that back in place so that I don't have any wiggling. All right, so we're going to flip this over, and the placement of this, antique red trucks, love them too. You know, my dad actually has an antique truck. I don't think it's red. Maybe it was red. I think at this point it's mostly rust. And they're just iconic. Okay, so we are gonna lift this above the mat. So we're gonna bring it into the card base and hang it in this far right corner. So somewhere in that vicinity, but I see here one of my dimensionals didn't lose its back. So it was kind of moving around on me. Okay. Then next I'm going to put down the truck. All right, that's going to go in the foreground, kind of nestled just around that banner. And I'm kind of looking at the bumper here. It looks like we are putting it kind of right at where the base line meets the first tree. So that's going to kind of help me put it where it belongs. You know, I don't think there's a right or wrong, just kind of using some reference points. Okay, next I'm going to put the dog, because that seems pretty low impact. Doesn't matter if I put it in kind of the wrong spot, or in another way of saying there isn't a right or a wrong. Now, I'm going to disagree here for a minute, because if I have the dog with a dimensional, let's see here, this is by the kind of butt or the tail, and then one by the head. I feel like I'm going to get him like at an angle. So we're going to have one that's hitting the card base and one part that's going to be hitting the truck, which is already on dimensionals. So I'm going to undo that. I'm going to peel off the one behind his head. Now, the better way is to just either make this decision and agree to do it and not have put that on in the first place, or maybe even double up the dimension. So 1 behind the head and 2 behind the butt. Then it would be evenly dimensionalized above the truck by being held up double on the floor ground. So it's something I try to be aware of because I don't like things being all cattywampus. So anyways, I'm gonna put him here-ish, and now by putting some glue behind the head, he will be level instead of being kind of tilted or at an angle. All right, and then last but certainly not least, I'm gonna put the packages in before we put some glue behind the tree and stuff that in the truck as well. So again, I'm gonna put this behind the kind of cab of the truck. We're going to tuck it down here and then stick it in. So we'll put it there-ish. Then I'm going to grab my tree. Now let's see here. I'm going to stick it. Okay, I'm going to undo what I just did because now that it's stuck in, we're not able to put the tree behind the packages. If you see, I'm running into some friction here because I'm running into that dimensional. So I'm going to lift that back up. I'm going to tear that off. So now I'm going to have undone both of my dimensionals on the small pieces. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just kind of play this out. I'm going to put the tree here-ish. No, I don't have any adhesive on any of these, so we're going to have to go back and do this again. But just so that I can see where and how I want these, so relatively here-ish. Now I'm going to try to gently pull these out together so I can see. Now before I lose the placement here, I'm going to grab a pen and kind of draw out where I want this. And of course I grab a pen that doesn't work. I'll grab a Sharpie instead. Now this is going to be into the truck so I won't see that. And actually this all should be kind of hidden. So I'm going to put a line there too. Okay. Now I'm going to put some glue behind this guy. And then I'm gonna put, let's see here, I don't know that I need or want any dimensionals. Like I can understand why you'd have a dimensional between these two, but I think that gets a little too complicated, at least for the crafting experience that I want. I don't want to have to think too much, so I'm just gonna flip this over and put some glue behind this guy and call it good. So now I'm gonna gently stuff this back in there, making sure that all of my purple is not seen and just making sure it's in a decent spot. Now, I will put some dimensionals behind this now that I kind of know where it is, and you know, maybe this would help for future offerings when I make this, but I'm just gonna flip this over and now I can put dimensionals behind all of this. So I'm being exaggerative. Like obviously I don't want to bend my card that much that I, you know, make some marks or anything like that, but look at all of that space that we can put dimensionals on now, which again, the only thing that's going to do, it's going to help give this card some more integrity. Got a double there. So if you can figure out where and how to place these without kind of making the mess of a situation that I've got right now, more power to you. But I'm just going to kind of do this and plan on doing that for the rest of the cards as well. Just on the ones not on camera, I'm not going to pull it quite as much so that I'm not ruining or damaging the card. But this will hopefully give you something that you can see. See how I've got all of those. I added probably 7 dimensionals back there. Once I got the dimensional backs off, I will kind of bend it back. And if I use my take your pick tool, I should be able to get a lot of these backs off on the back, the ones that are farther back. Just kind of lifting them. Now I'll scoop in and grab them off. Okay, so obviously I kind of bent that a bunch, but now that I put it down, it really doesn't even have any curve to it. And compared to before, and even, you know, I didn't get any farther down, but so behind the grill and even in this bumper area, we could have easily added a couple extra dimensionals before we even started, like way back here. And that would help give this card even more integrity. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to kind of show where that is, and for future makings of this card as well. I think that'll be very helpful. So just kind of feeling around. So I put one here. I ended up putting one behind that tire. And then here is fine. And then above this bumper as well. So in drawing the tree per se, so the tree and the packages end up going in this relative area. Okay, so the tree ends up above the head of the truck and kind of like down here-ish. Something like that. Like obviously I'm not doing the best job drawing it, and that, but so we're trying to avoid this area. But all of this is pretty safe. I mean, this becomes kind of like the quote-unquote danger zone. You know, you don't want to put a dimensional too close in that area. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit for you. So you don't want to get too close in this area because of, you know, the tree might fall into any of those spots, but I do feel pretty safe about most of these spots, and I think I ended up doing about 7 of them. So I think I did something like this and that, and maybe even an additional any bit in there. Actually, correction. I did not have some of these put down because I didn't quite know. Now I'm feeling where there are empty spots. And I can still go in. Let me grab take your pick tool. I can grab, because they're under this like bumper, and so the grill and the bumper are quite weak. So again, this makes a lot of additional like work and thinking. So I'm going to try to do this. So I didn't get it quite as far in as I wanted, but you know, I just don't like having a spot. Okay, you cannot see. I forgot that I was zoomed in. So I tried to sneak one into this area. And I'd love to have another one in here, but I just cannot quite get at that. But I think that really helps add some integrity to the card. So let's zoom back out. Whoa, that's zooming in, you silly lady. Okay, so there we go. Look at that. Let's bring both of the cards in. Oh my. Sorry guys, we're a bit crooked here. When I zoomed, I must have kind of knocked things out of proportion. So my apologies there. But here are the 2 cards from the Road to Christmas kit collection. So we've got released in September of 2025. The kit includes contents to make 4 of each of these cards, including corresponding envelopes. I'm going to bring those in at this point. So we've got there you have it. Beautiful cards. If you missed the beginning, like I said, at this point in time, the kit is completely sold out. I do not know whether Stampin' Up! Has the ability or desire to offer more. So stay tuned. We will let you know if it does become available again. But we are so thankful that you joined us today. Yes, so Cindy, Randy, beautiful cards. Cindy, I do hope that we can help you, hook you up with some as well. We'll let you know if the kit becomes available. But thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you spending your most valuable resource, which is your time, with me today. Go ahead, share this video, like I was talking earlier, if you do have the ability and the desire, please go over to the Sunshine Stampin' Co. And give my Facebook and YouTube page a like, follow, and subscribe. So, sending lots of sunshine love and big hugs your way.